Most people think selling their house before retirement is simple. List it, close it, move on. And then a letter shows up from Medicare 2 years later with a bill they were never expecting for a sale they'd already forgotten about. That's sell number one. And it has a trap buried inside it that catches people completely off guard. I'm going to walk you through exactly what it is, why it happens, and the one form most people never file that can make it go away entirely. That's where we're starting. 5 things to sell before retirement and the hidden costs inside each one that nobody warns you about. Let's go. Sell number 5 is the one nobody wants to talk about out loud. Not because it's complicated, because it hits too close to home. I'm going to get there. But first, 4 things that are quietly bleeding your retirement dry right now, every single month. Let's go. Sell number 1 is where most retirement videos just say downsize your house and move on. I'm not doing that because there is something hiding inside this decision that can cost you thousands of dollars in Medicare premiums. And most people have zero idea it exists until it's already too late. The case for selling a too big house makes total sense. Once the kids are out and you're not filling every room, you're just paying to maintain space you don't use. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, upkeep. For a lot of retirees, this is the single biggest monthly cost that's actually within their control. But before you list it, you need to understand one thing. Medicare doesn't look at what you're earning right now. It looks at what you earned 2 years ago. That's the look back window. So here's what that means in real life. You sell your house in 2025. That sale creates a big income spike. Medicare looks at that in 2027 and adjusts your premiums based on it. You're paying more for a sale you made 2 years ago. The system that does this is called IRMA, Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, and the numbers are real. Standard Medicare Part B in 2024 runs about $175 a month. But as your income climbs past certain levels, that surcharge goes up fast. For a married couple, both on Medicare hitting the higher income brackets, the combined extra premiums can clear $10,000 in a single year. Now, a lot of homeowners have a pretty powerful tool here called the Section 121 exclusion. If you've lived in the home as your primary residence for at least 2 of the last 5 years, you can exclude up to $250,000 of gain from the sale, or $500,000 if you're married filing jointly. That's real money and it matters, but it has rules. It only applies to gain, not the full sale price. And if you've rented the property at any point, that can affect what you qualify for. Here's the part that trips people up. Even after you use that exclusion, if what's left over, combined with your Social Security, your pension, whatever else you're pulling, pushes your total income high enough, you can still trigger IRMA. The exclusion and the Medicare math are completely separate calculations. Let me give you an example. Couple who bought their home in 1997 for $180,000, selling it now for $680,000. They apply the $500,000 exclusion. Taxable gain on the home, 0. They figure they're in the clear. But their total income that year between the sale, Social Security, and a pension pushes their MAGI over the IRMA threshold, and they're paying higher Medicare premiums for the next 2 years. Nobody told them. The letter from Medicare just showed up. That story is not unusual. It happens constantly. Here's the thing most people don't know, though, and this is worth writing down. If your income spiked because of a one-time thing like a home sale, you can actually appeal the IRMA surcharge. There's a form called SSA 44. It's a life-changing event appeal, and it can reduce or completely eliminate the extra premium. Most people never file it because they didn't know it existed. Go find your Social Security office before you assume that higher bill is just something you have to live with. So before you do anything, really 3 things need to happen. First, figure out whether this sale is going to create a significant income spike even after the Section 121 exclusion. Second, Find out where you are relative to the Medicare look back. That's a 2-year window. And third, and I can't stress this enough, sit down with a tax professional and a Medicare specialist before you sign anything. Not after, before. Sell the house if it makes sense. Just don't let the timing be a surprise. Sell number 2 is the extra car. I know someone, retired teacher, 34 years in the classroom. When the kids were young and the schedule was packed, 2 cars made complete sense. She retired. Kids were out of the house. Her husband retired a few months later. And for the next couple of years, that second car just lived in the driveway. They used it once a week, maybe, usually less, but they kept paying insurance on it, registration every year, oil changes, whether it needed them or not. It just sat there costing money. 8LA puts out a report every year called Your Driving Costs. In 2024, they found the average annual cost to own and operate a vehicle in the US was over $12,000. A car you barely drive is still running you roughly $1,000 a month just to exist in your garage. Before you actually sell it, do this one thing. Run the 60 to 90-day test. Put the second key in a drawer. Pretend you've already sold it. For 60 to 90 days, only drive one car. And every time you genuinely would have needed that second car, not it would have been easier, actually needed it, write it down. At the end of that window, look at the list. Most people come back with maybe 3 or 4 things in 3 months. That's not a sacrifice. That's a raise. $800 to $1,000 a month back in your pocket every month for the rest of retirement. Sell number 3 is the stuff in your garage, your storage unit, or your marina slip. There's an old line in retirement circles. The 2 best days of owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. People laugh because they know it's true. The RV that was going to be the great adventure sitting in storage at $300 a month. The boat with the engine issue that's been almost fixed for 2 years. The classic car project that stalled at 40% done when real life got in the way. The motorcycle that came out 3 times last summer. A mid-size RV can run $5,000 to $10,000 a year in storage, insurance, registration, and maintenance. Doesn't matter if you use it. A 25-foot boat can cost you $3,000 to $5,000 a year just to sit at a marina. These are not assets. They are subscriptions with a tarp on them. Here's the only test you need. If you haven't used it in 90 days and there's no specific trip or use planned in the next 60, it's not an asset. It's a bill you keep paying out of habit. I get that these things carry memories. The first summer with the camper, the fishing trips with your dad, the project you were going to do with your son. Those memories don't live in the boat. They live in you. You don't have to keep paying storage to hold on to them. Sell number 4. I want to tell you about a guy, I'll call him Dennis, retired engineer, disciplined saver his whole career, did everything right. And then one January, he sat down to go through his statements and realized the market had been up double digits for 2 straight years, and his balance had barely moved. He called his advisor, asked what happened. Took about 45 minutes on the phone before he finally understood what he was actually being charged. Not because the advisor was hiding it, because the products were genuinely that complicated. That's the trap. And Dennis is not unusual. You didn't do anything wrong. The market did what it was supposed to. But somewhere in the products you're holding, fees are eating the returns before they ever reach you, quietly every year, without a single bill in the mail. That's what financial complexity costs people in retirement. And most of them don't even know it's happening. Here's the simple version of this. The more complicated a financial product is, the better it tends to be for the person who sold it to you, not for you. Before retirement, and honestly, the sooner the better, go through everything you own and ask yourself if you can explain it to someone in your family in one sentence. If you can't, that's worth looking into. So here's what I'd actually sit down and look at with a professional before you retire. Variable annuities with layered fees. The base fee, the rider charges, the sub-account costs, add all of it up and you can be looking at 3 to 4% a year. On a $300,000 account that's up to $12,000, quietly leaving your balance every single year, it doesn't show up as a charge. It just disappears from your returns. Whole life policies that were set up as investment vehicles rather than actual protection, worth understanding what you actually have there. Mutual funds or actively managed accounts charging over 1% annually. Not automatically bad, but always worth understanding clearly. And anything that sends you a K-1 tax form every year. That means the investment, not you, controls when income gets recognized. In retirement, that can create taxable income at the worst possible time. What I want you to do, list every account and financial product you own. Circle anything you can't explain in one sentence. Then get with a professional and ask 3 questions. What is my total annual cost? What happens if I need cash quickly? And what does my family actually inherit from this? Is it simple for them or is it a mess? You don't need to sell everything complicated. You just need to actually understand what you own. Because in retirement, you really can't afford to be fuzzy on this stuff. Okay, stop for a second. This last one has ended more retirements than any boat, any fee, any house, and nobody wants to talk about it out loud. I want to be careful here because I know how this can sound. So let me say clearly, this is not about loving your kids less. It's not about turning your back on family. It's about the fact that open-ended, no rules, no finish line financial support for adult children is one of the sneakiest ways a retirement falls apart. And it's sneaky precisely because it doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like being a good parent. Bankrate surveyed parents across the country in 2023. 68% said they'd made significant financial sacrifices to support their adult kids. 43% said it directly hurt their retirement savings, nearly half. And here's the part that gets me. Most of those parents have never actually sat down and had a direct conversation about it. There's no number, no end, date, no conditions. It just keeps going because nobody wants to be the one who says enough. That's not a financial plan. That's a liability that showed up 1 month and never left. Here's what I'd suggest instead. Turn it into something with rules. Pick an amount. Put an end date on it. Keep it to actual needs, not lifestyle support, not covering things they could handle themselves. And if you need the words for that conversation, here's what I'd say. I love you and I want to help you. But here's what I can do. Here's when it ends, and here's what we're going to work on after that. I'm still your parent. I'm just not your bank. That talk is uncomfortable, but it is a lot less uncomfortable than calling your kid at 72 to tell them you ran out of money. Okay, real talk before you go. Every single thing on that sell list has one thing in common. Right now, today, all of it is manageable. Some of it is just a phone call. Some of it is one conversation you've been avoiding. But every year you let it sit, it gets harder, more expensive, more tangled. The house that's too big, the car sitting in the driveway, the stuff in storage, the financial products nobody's looked at in years, the support checks with no end in sight. None of this needs a master plan. You don't need a financial advisor on speed dial. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to make a decision now while you've got time and income and options. Because the people who watch something like this and close the tab without doing anything, they're not bad at planning. They're not irresponsible. They just kept thinking there was more time, and then there wasn't. Don't be that story. Pick 2 things from this list, just 2. Write them down right now. One thing you'll do on each of them before the end of this week. Not a full plan, just one thing. Drop a comment below. Type sell and tell me which one is the hardest for you to let go of. Honestly, those are the comments I look forward to most. And if someone in your life is getting close to retirement, a parent, a sibling, a friend, send this to them today, not later, today.